Greetings students, you are most welcomed in my English classes. Today we are going to study the topic letter. Letter. Students, you know very well, the smallest unit of English is also a letter. But we don't mean to say about that letter or letters ABCD. We are going to discuss something more. First, we can check the definition. A letter is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on paper. It is usually sent to the recipient via mail or post in an envelope. Although this is not a requirement as such, any such message that is transferred via post is a letter, a written conversation between two parties. Students, you know very well what is the definition of letter. Letter is a written message. It may be handwritten or it may be in the shape of mail. Yes, students, I think you know very well, and you have written so many times such type of letter for your examination as well as for your friends. And you have written so many applications, application for leave, application for marriage leave. These are also the type of letters. With the advent of email and modern technology, the concept of written letters has taken a back seat, but the style persists and people use it while writing emails, drafting letters, demands meticulous attention. One should be careful about what is being written. Students, it means you know very well. You have written so many times letters, emails also. But here is something different. What is different? Nowadays, the writing of letters is, we can say, reducing, but that pattern is accepted to write an email. And you know very well, nowadays we are using a lot of social medias, but your writing is adequate or up to the point, and you can say that is in a format the recipient is very attracted by reading your message. Type of letters. Let's first understand that there are broadly two types of letter, namely formal letters and informal letters. But then there are also few types of letters based on their contents, formalities, the purpose of letter writing, etc. Let us have a look at the few types of letters. Formal letters. These letters follow a certain pattern and formality. They are strictly kept professional in nature and directly address the issue concerned. Any type of business letter or letter to authority falls within this given category. Students, in this way you can learn how can we write formal letters. You know very well, formal means we have to take care of formalities. These letters are written to discuss business, apply for services, make requests, file, register complaints, etc. The foundation of these letters and categorization depends upon what is being discussed in the letters. Yes, students, we have just discussed about the letters. It is known by the content of this or its. The letters are short and to the point. Yes, sir. Yes. It it's very compulsory. We should write letter to the point. We shouldn't use the words, abruptive words, you can say. Not we have to uh, round and round the message. We should focus to the point, what we want to convey. The formulation of the formal letters, letters of application, official letter, and letters to editor. These are such kinds of formal letters. Informal letter. These are personal letters. They need not follow any set pattern or adhere to any formalities. They contain personal information or are a written conversation. Informal letters are generally written to friends, acquaintances, relatives, etc. Students, it's very known. Informal letters, informal letter is also known by the personal letter, and we can write these letters to our relatives, to our acquaintances, etc., or to our friends. These are also known as personal letters, usually written to family, friends, relatives, neighbors, or to acquaintances. These letters may or may not have concrete reason of writing. They may be written just to share an experience, inquiry about someone, so how about updating someone with a journal incident, etc. In these letters, we cover personal letters, uh, letters to family, letters to relatives, love letters, letters to elderly people, and social letters, letters to friends, social invitation, congratulatory, apology letters, letters of condolence, sympathy, thank you letters. These are the social letters. Yes, students, you know very well, and you have some examples to get the invitation of marriage cards. You have seen a lot of time. These are also the form of letters, especially we can say informal letters. But I want to tell you, students, invitation, there are two type of invitation, formal and informal. But nowadays formal invitations are used commonly, we can say. Tips of letter writing. Students, you should have some tips how to write letters, and I think it's very necessary to know about the tips. That's why I have discussed such some tips. First, a letter bridges communication gap between two or more parties. In other words, we can say this is a link between two parties. A letter can create awareness, inform, or provoke a thought in the receiver or the mass. Yes, this is a link of awareness, information, provoke of receivers, whether that is individual or a mass. A well written letter is a good way to express one's feeling. Yes, students, by writing letter we can express our feelings. A heartfelt letter acts as a personal memoir and may be preserved by the receiver. Students, it's very known fact, if you have written a letter very affectionately, the recipient can keep it as a memory. Kind of formal and informal letters. Business letters. This letter is written among business correspondents, generally contains commercial information such as quotations, orders, complaints, claims, letters for collections, etc. Such letters are always strictly formal and follow a structure and pattern of formalities. Official letter. And this type of letter is written to inform offices, branches, subordinates of official information. It is usually relays official information like rules, regulation, procedures, events, or any other such information. Official letters are also formal in nature and follow certain structure and decorum. Social letter. A personal letter is written on the occasion of a special event is known as social letter. Congratulatory letter, condolence letter, invitation letter, etc. are all social letters. Circular letter. A letter that announces information to a large number of people is a circular letter. The same letter is circulated to a large group of people to correspond some important information like a change of address, change in management, the retirement of a partner, etc. etc. Employment letters. Any letters with the respect to the employment process like joining letter, promotion letter, application letter, etc. etc. Students, these are the such kinds of formal and informal letter. Here, only one kind is related to informal letter, that is social letter. Otherwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 kinds of formal letters. Letter to editor. Students, please pay your attention towards this topic because it's very necessary, and this year they have selected to ask during the annual exam this topic, letter to editor. First of all, a letter to editor is a letter sent to a publication about issues of concern from its readers. Usually letters are intended for publication. In many publications, letters to editor may be sent either through conventional mails or electronic mails. Yes, students, you know very well, if we want to publish our views through newspaper and magazines, we have to write letters to the editor of that magazine or newspaper. A letter to editor may be written to the editor of a newspaper or a magazine. It is written to highlight a social issue or problem. It can also be written in order to get it published in the said medium. A letter to editor is written to the editor of newspaper or magazine. For what? Because we want to publish about any social issue or problem. Our views we can see directly. As it is a formal letter, the format has to be followed strictly. Only formal language can be used, that is abbreviation, and slang language should be avoided. Students, you should know we have to use very formal language and formal format when we are going to write a formal letter, because letter to editor is a formal letter. A letter to editor is a formal letter, and in the examination students are asked to write a letter to editor. Here we have discussed sample letters to editor for the convenience of the students. Before checking the sample, we should know about the format of the letter. First of all, we can discuss about students. First, sender's address including email, phone number if required. Second, date. Below address, leave one space or line. Receiving address, that is editor's address. Subject of the letter, salutation, sir, madam, respected sir or madam, like this. Body, complimentary closing, sender's name and signature with designation. This is the example of letter to editor. In red ink you can check this is the question and this one is answer. Here you can check how can we write letter to editor. This one is sender's address, date, receiver address, subject, salutation, body, complimentary closing and name of the writer. Informal letter. An informal letter, also referred to as a friendly letter, is a personal letter written to friends or relatives. It is written in personal fashion. You can write it to anyone with whom you have a non-professional relationship, although this doesn't exclude business partners or workers whom you are friendly with either. There are fewer formatting rules for formal letters than there are for business and formal letters. It means, students, you know very well, in formal letters we have to pay attention towards formalities, but in informal letters there is no need to pay attention towards formalities. Here you can use very simple language because you are going to write to your relatives, friends or your acquaintances. That's why there is no need to use formalities. There are some rules, very few rules you can say. The letter can be used for some, I'm reading from this line, for some reasons like conveying message, news, giving advice, congratulate a recipient, request information, asking questions, etc. etc. It is a personal letter written to whom you are very familiar with, like friends, siblings, parents or any other close one. While writing an informal letter, you can afford to be friendly and make use of personal or emotional tone. This is the example of informal letter. Here you can check sender's address, date, salutation, content or body of the letter, complimentary closing and name of the writer. Here you can check there are a few formalities which are used in this format or in this letter. Formal letters. Okay, students, it's once again you want to know and you should know about the format of the letter. I mean to say formal letter. Here you can check sender's address, date, name of the addressee, address of the addressee. Students, this is not your favorable. You can't use such type of, no need to write here name. After that, salutation, subject, introduction, body, conclusion, closing, name of the sender. Here you can write. Students, I want to tell you, if you not if and but, you have to use the sender's address without name and receiver's address without name. No need to write the names, but if you want to write, you can write. There is no hindrance, but it's looking very odd, so please don't use. Job application format. A job application consists two parts: the covering letter, appeal, and the biodata CV. Sender's address. Like formal letters, we have to use first of all sender's address, after that date, receiver address, subject, salutation, body. The sender's address is usually put on the top left hand corner. Students, here you can check date. The sender's address is followed by the date just below it. This is the date on which the letter is being written. It is to be written in expanded form. Receiver address, whether you write to Above the address depends on the writer's preference. Make sure you write the office title, name, position, etc. the receiver at the first line of the address. Yes, students, if you want to put 2 before this address, you can put. Otherwise, there is no compulsion to write 2. It depends on you whether you want to write or not. Like subject, you have to put subject. Then we sum up the purpose of writing the letters in one line. It means what we want to convey in the content of the letter, we should write in one line as a subject. This helps receiver focus on the subject of the letter in one glance. It is important to underline the subject. Yes, you should underline the subject. Salutation. This is where you greet the person you are addressing the letter to. Bear in mind that it is a formal letter, so the greeting must be respectful and not too personal. The general greeting used in formal letters are sir or madam. Body. This is the main content of the letter. It is either divided into 3 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs if the letter is briefer. The tone of the content should be formal. Do not use flowery language. Another point to keep in mind is that the letter should be concise and to the point, and always be respectful and considerate in your language. Students, body of the letter can be divided into 3 parts. First, introduction, after the development of the subject, and last paragraph will be the conclusion of the subject. Format of job letter. Here you can check. That was the appeal format, and this is the CV format. The biodata or CV is generally divided into 4 parts: personal detail, qualification, experience, reference, like this. It goes like biodata, heading, name, father name, date of birth, address, age, contact number, email ID, nationality, marital status, qualification. This is the question. I have set here an example. This is the question. Here you can check the name of the writer to whom we are going to write, and next, this is the example of or answer of the question. Sender's address, date, receiver address, subject, salutation. Here you can check. There are three paragraph of the body, letters body. This one, closing, and these are the name of the writer. This is the biodata. Here you can check. This is the biodata: name, father name, date of birth, address, phone. We have discussed all this. In this way, students, you have to write letters. I think this video will help you a lot. Thanks. Have a great time.